Christian Obodo. Thanks for staying with us. And citing the need to dispense with appeals arising from the general election, the Supreme Court has shifted hearing of applications seeking to compel the Apex Court to give effect to its earlier judgment that all Progressives Congress and Action People's Party both nominated Uche Nwosu for the 2019 governorship election to December 5th, 2023, after the Imo State governorship election would have held on November 11th. This sudden postponement, however, has become a source of concern for stakeholders. Arise news analyst Frank Tiete, lawyer, is here to look at the issues. Frank, uh, just 24 hours ago, we were on this same issue, and now we have a Supreme Court that is going to be depleted to 10 men come 27th of this month, when Justice Ataijo would be retiring. How is this going to affect the rest of this Imo State case?
It doesn't. It's not in any way. So long as a panel of seven can always be constituted, the Supreme Court will have jurisdiction to hear any matter in terms of composition. 10 is still a very good number, and
with the plethora of work that they have.
You see, what people don't understand is that the Supreme Court doesn't hear. It's not a regular court that hears cases. It doesn't take witnesses from. It doesn't take evidence from witnesses. It's the briefs. It reads briefs and reaches conclusions, and then it writes the supporting positions for its decisions, the reason that for every decision it takes. So it's supposed to be quite easy. The expectation is that every Supreme Court justice has quite a large number of support staff, legal assistants, and librarians. Many typists, research assistants, people that help each justice to, in terms of support, to reach a decision, and then to also articulate those the reasons for those decisions in writing. So they have a quite array of competent persons who support them. So the expectation is just like members of the National Assembly, they have serious resources that are made available for them to dispense justice adequately. So long as a panel of 5 can be considered for the regular cases, and then that of a number of 7, the Supreme Court will always be fine. The Supreme Court shouldn't have any reason to keep giving long dates for cases that have been filed before it, especially this particular Imo matter, which brought a lot of relief as at yesterday for me a few days earlier, that it has decided to hear the case of challenging the nomination of Governor Hope Uzodinma, whether he was properly nominated as a candidate of the All Progressive Congress.
But there's a problem here that those who filed the case are apprehensive about that the Supreme Court has shifted.
I very much doubt that. Okay. I very much doubt that. You see, as a practicing lawyer myself, I know how the registry of a court can sometimes undermine the head of a court. The head of a court is usually the chief judge in case of state high court, or the chief justice of Nigeria in case of the Supreme Court. So the registry of a court most likely can take certain decisions that are not in tandem, that are not in sync with what the head of court wants. Definitely, as at yesterday, I was here to praise the Chief Justice of Nigeria for giving a date to hear a matter, an application that was before 3 years ago, that was crucial to the election, to the justice of the election of the Imo State governorship. And to think that reports which are unconfirmed as far as I'm concerned, because I haven't seen the service of any of such document or published anywhere, but I've been also made aware that such a document exists. However, that could be emanating only from the registry, but not necessarily from the head of the court. So on the expectation is that you don't expect the Supreme Court of Nigeria to announce that on the 31st of October 2023, it will hear the applications determining the validity of the election of Governor Hope Uzodinma. And then suddenly from nowhere, without any reason, it's saying that it's adjourning till after another election in Imo State. Well, so the Supreme Court has had...
It will render that application or motion useless if
yes,
that happens.
Yes, and then again, what will Nigerians begin to think? I mean, sometimes the arms of government, I'm talking about the executive, legislature, and now the judiciary, can't operate. Sometimes they operate and they shouldn't operate as if the people of Nigeria are non-existent. The judiciary is struggling with a serious moral baggage. And people like us are advocates all the time, forever. We will be advocates of the judiciary. That is, it should be the sanctity and the integrity of the judiciary should be protected. But again, you can't expect that there will be obvious, direct infraction by the judiciary against itself. That kind of inconsistency will not be tolerated at all. So it will seem as if the judiciary has stepped down to become political and siding a clear injustice, whereas it is supposed to be the bastion of justice. So where is the justice? When at the time it could have resolved the matter before the election of Governor Hope Uzodinma, now it did not even listen. It did not even attempt to hear the appeal challenging, not only the appeal of PDP, because the issue is, remember, I dealt with the issues quite a lot yesterday, when Uche Nwosu was nominated by Action Alliance and at the same time was nominated by the All Progressive Congress, he was disqualified. And at that point, the APC did not have a candidate. So the PDP went to challenge. I mean, they had a pre-election matter at the Federal High Court in Abuja, challenging the propriety of the nomination of Uche Nwosu. When that matter got to the Supreme Court agreed that Uche Nwosu was not a candidate was not a proper candidate in the election. So the idea is that at what point did Hope Uzodinma become the candidate of the All Progressive Congress and later won as governor? Those kind of crucial issues ought to have been decided before an election. If it had not been decided in 3 years when an application is lying pending, and the Supreme Court on its own, nobody pushed it. That's an interesting thing. Nobody pushed it, decided that, it should hear that appeal. It should hear that application before the November 11 election. And from nowhere, it decides again that, no, it's not hearing it again. Something fishy is going on. I doubt very much that the Supreme Court will shoot itself in the foot by that kind of action until I am satisfied that that kind of direction is coming from the Chief Justice of Nigeria. I think you should be taken with just a pinch of salt.
So you think just the